Welcome to the show. Jamie Allman here. Michael Brown Sr., gracious enough to be on the show this evening. You want to stick around to hear what he thinks he can do to help a big problem in the black community. Michael Brown Sr., welcome to the program. Thank you very much. Father to father, my sympathies and prayers continue with you. I know it's been a hard row for the past year and a half or so. Appreciate you being with us. Jana Gamble is with Michael Brown Sr. She is the vice president of the new foundation. It's the Michael Brown Chosen for Change Foundation. Welcome to the program. I know oftentimes, and you've been interviewed a lot, and usually it's under the terms of what the reporter or the anchor wants to ask you or what wants to say to you. What do you want to say to us?
We just happy. The family is just happy for all the support. You know, we couldn't have made it without y'all, and the world. You know, the family just appreciate all of you.
When you look at the story that Aisha Khan did, and you look at the violence, and I realize your son's situation was a lot more complicated than that, and this was a separate situation, but still, it speaks to the general community. It speaks to the general problem of violence in the community. What do you think about when you see a story like Aisha's?
It's all sad. It hurts my heart. You know, it brings back old wounds, open wounds, you know, that I'll be trying to keep kind of covered, you know. So I just pray for the families. It's the only thing I can really do, and reach out and give them my love and support.
And up until the point that your son was killed, I know that you as a father were trying very hard, because you knew, even in the run-up to what happened, what was going on in the community. And you knew that as a parent, it was important to try to keep them as far away from that as possible. That's not always easy. I mean, as any parent out there would know. But you tried to keep Michael Jr. out of this environment, or out of that immediate environment.
Well, this is a conversation that I think every black parent had with their child. You know, we just try to keep our kids safe, you know. We think that they need to know that early, you know, how to deal with the police, how to interact with any law enforcement, you know. So, yeah, it's...
I understand. Jana Gamble, this foundation, you have a Facebook page, and I think it's great. You guys are working on a website now, but the Facebook page obviously probably much better because it's so active. What are you hoping for? What is this foundation's purpose? What are you all hoping to achieve here?
Well, our mission is saving lives one day at a time through empowering youth, strengthening families, and giving back to the community.
So how does that work? How do you do that? We
have several programs. So one, which is I want to say is the most important to Mike, is the Chosen Fathers. And so we have a huge event coming up. It's called a Father's Perspective. And this is a retreat weekend for about 12 fathers from across the country that are coming together. And we've created this wonderful event for them to not only just heal together as brothers, as men, to be pampered, and they're actually going to be giving back to the community as well.
That's great, because you know, when we talk about this issue and of violence in the community, in the black community, white community, whatever it is, we get calls on our heat phone from people, and it always goes back to where are the parents or where's the community? Because, you know, we could rely on politicians all day long. We could rely on whoever we elect or whatever law enforcement apparatus is there. But in the end, you all are recognizing it all goes right back to the neighborhood and to the family, correct?
Right. And we want to do our part, and that's what, yeah. Those are our three keys. Respect, restraint, and responsibility, and that's what we teach everyone that we work with.
And what kind of feedback in that case do you get from other parents, other people on this?
They love all the things that we're doing, you know, pat on the back. Hey, please don't stop. We need y'all to keep this up. So it's all good feedback.
And I realize a lot of the issues now are focusing on the police, focusing on the body cameras, focusing on lawsuits, focusing on this and the Attorney General's office and all that kind of stuff, and the government and the police and all that kind of thing. But in the end, I guess you all are saying that, hey, we got to kind of pick this up ourselves. We want to avoid, for instance, the conflict to begin with. We want to avoid those collision points to begin with.
Absolutely.
And I guess in terms of your response so far, how old is the foundation so far?
Started October 2015.
Okay, so what?
2014. I'm sorry.
So what are some of the amazing conversations happening on Facebook? Because of course that's the great thing about Facebook. People can pop on there and talk. What kind of response are you getting?
It's always very, very positive from people that love and support us. And so, especially with this coming weekend that we have next weekend, we have a major event planned at the Eden Seminary. And that's where we're going to have all these fathers are going to be on a panel, and they're going to be able to share their heart. So they have children from, the young girl that was accidentally shot, Jamila Bolden, from her to Mike to Andrew Joseph. We have several fathers from across the country, and they're going to be able to share their heart with people and really show how they feel and how this affects them and how they move forward.
Michael Brown Sr., I got to tell you, for a father to have lost a son under any circumstance whatsoever, the challenge is not to just say, you know what, I give up. I give up. It's to opt out. It's to leave. Basically leave in your mind the whole thing behind and not worry about it and get frustrated, maybe even angry, as some people in the community have been. But you've chosen a different path. How is that? Why?
This is the easiest fight I can ever take on, to fight for my son, fight for other families, and try to save other children, It's my duty.
The greatest thing that Mike's taught all of us is about forgiveness and really how to take charge. And he was given a mission and a challenge that never was thought of or dreamed of, and no one should ever have to take on. But he has been a great leader to us as a team and to people all across the world that call and respect him. Every time someone loses somebody, they reach out to us.
Wow.
Mike, what do we do? Who do we call? What resources are there? How can you help us? They expect him to have an answer.
Yeah.
So he's the new face of the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
He is.
Well, and what's interesting, even though it is a civil rights movement, what you're trying to do is actually give more power to the families themselves. So aside from maybe fighting for rights, if you perceive a civil rights issue, fighting for those, really what you're doing is empowering people to take control of their own destinies in the end.
Absolutely.
And I guess it's interesting in just talking to you, because I think how you're articulating this is hugely important. That it would have been a lot easier for you to check out. It would have been a lot easier for you to be angry.
I still am. I just use it in a positive way, transformed it.
That's great.
That's what gets me through.
Right. So in terms of the foundation and the future path, I know you have the Father's deal at Eden Theological Seminary. What then is next? How can people get involved with you all?
Absolutely. First of all, they can email us at chosenforchangefund@gmail.com.
Okay.
Anybody that wants to volunteer or get involved with our programs. We have Chosen Diamonds, which is a girls program. Chosen by MB2, which Marcellus Buckley leads for us. He's wonderful with the boys. Chosen Fathers. And of course, we do Giving Back as a season of giving from October through January, as well as random acts of kindness. It's not just the people in the community that have lost a child or suffering from or grieving parents, but it's people that have had a fire, and we provide shelter or food or resources for them. It's somebody that their car broke down, and we're providing something like that. But what we do is, aside from those events, we have an annual celebration on Mike's birthday in May. And so we do a benefit concert this year in May. And then we'll have a vigil, international vigil on the anniversary of his crowning in August.
Michael Brown, do you remember your last conversation with your son?
Yeah.
What did you say? What did you talk about?
Cal was in the hospital, which is my wife. We had a small conversation about just talking about how she was feeling, what was going on, just everyday talk. And we ended up with the last words of saying, I love you too. And that was it, so.
Well, God bless you. Thank you very much for being with us. Jana Gamble, best of luck, both of you.
Thank you.
And obviously we'll be with you every step of the way, and we're so glad that you came on. I realize, the prying eyes and the interviews are kind of sometimes tough, but you're doing a courageous thing, man, getting out there and trying to make some changes from the inside.
Yeah.
And that's a tough task, but you're doing it.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. Pleasure to meet you. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Jana, thank you as well. All right.